Okay, so the March 10th, 2021 special meeting of the Board of Selectmen will come to order. I'd like to welcome everyone joining us either on Facebook Live or on the phone line. Just a reminder to please stay muted until you're called upon. And as another reminder, we stream this to Facebook Live for transparency, but we are not also able to monitor any comments. If you want to ask a question or make any comments, please dial in. And to start, we'd like to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And we're so excited to have a special guest with us here today. We've invited Claire to come to get a commendation from the Board of Selectmen. So Claire, if you want to come up and stand by us. And I'm a little bit, I'm not wearing my glasses. So we wanted to say, in recognition of your being named to the 2021 Connecticut Kid Governor's Cabinet, we're so proud of your accomplishments and look forward to seeing you continue to flourish in this role while working with other cabinet members to support and achieve the campaign goals of Connecticut Kid Governor. We hope this experience brings many more years of you playing an active role in public service. Congratulations and best wishes in all your future endeavors given on this 10th day of March 2021. So thank you, Claire. Congratulations. You want to take a quick picture? Here, we can get a little closer to you. If you want to hold your commendation. Hold it up?
Yeah, hold it.
There you go.
Is it up right side up? Okay.
Great. Thank you, Claire. Thank you. And we're really excited to see all the great stuff you do in Torrington, and thank you.
I'm here for the whole future, yeah.
Thank you so much. We'll be in touch. Thank you. So nice to meet you. Thank you so much. So now on to the approval of the minutes. Claire's amazing. We got to talk to her before. So for approval minutes, could I get a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of February 24th, 2021?
So moved.
Could I have a second?
My second?
Thank you. Motion and second. Any discussion?
No.
No. Once again, thank you, Stacey. Great minutes. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Right, moving on to the special meeting minutes of March 4th, 2021. Could I get a motion to approve those special meeting minutes?
So moved. My second?
Thank you. Any discussion?
No.
No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you again. So under correspondence, we received a letter from Mr. John Prue, further clarifying some points regarding a letter that he had previously sent about the Climate Change Task Force submission of a proposed climate emergency declaration. We will review it and forward it to the Climate Change Task Force. And just a note, we could talk more under later business, but I have fallen behind on some of this work with the budget coming up and the kind of impromptu virtual town meeting and the Al Harvey property. So this is definitely still a priority, and I will try and get stuff for us to review at a future board meeting.
Okay. No, that's great. Yeah, and I read his letter, and it answers a lot of questions that the Climate Change Task Force people had.
Okay.
About some of the data that he submitted, so it's a good letter. John, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Hopefully you're not watching right now.
No, right?
Thank you.
So it's all good information.
Yes.
So.
Yes. Wonderful. Thank you, John. A quick update on COVID-19, just to say we continue to have usually at least 2 calls a week with different state officials, as well as some regional calls with our fellow first selectmen and mayors, and our fearless leaders at legislate who are just fantastic. But basically, just a reminder to residents, one is if you have questions or concerns, whether it's about the vaccine or other COVID-related matters, either call our office, the First Selectmen's office, or Human Services. We are here and happy to help, and if we don't have the answer, we will track it down for you. We have been able to help a few residents with getting vaccines. Actually, Stacey helped a couple just today. So please do bring up your questions and concerns. As a reminder, every Friday I put out an update based on information we get from state and local, and we put that on the website as well as social media. If you have feedback on other information you'd like, just let us know. And just to share, as of the March 5th update, just under 25%, 24.79% of Dorrington residents have received the vaccine, whereas 17.6% of Connecticut residents have received the vaccine. So that's really good. We're doing well. It also means we're likely not a top priority for a location to host a vaccine, because the mandate from the governor to legislate is they should be more prioritizing places that haven't had as good of a turnout. So it means we'll probably have to continue to travel to North Dorrington or Groton or New London, but we do have free transportation and can get people places if you need help. So just reach out. Then, okay, under new business discussion, we have a budget review. And it's my understanding that June requested this agenda item to be added. So June, hand it over to you.
Okay, well, I just want to add something about the COVID, because when I was on the Board of Finance, our demographics, we do have a slightly higher older population here in Stonington. So it could also be that we have a higher percentage of people that are vaccinated just because of the age banding, the grouping. So, but very responsible residents, so that's good. I just wanted to say that. All right, so I did want to say something about the upcoming budget, and my request is to consider a modification to the upcoming budget, and it really has to do with looking at the position, the community outreach specialist, which I think is a really critical position to add to the Department of Human Services. This is akin to the position that the police department had somebody working with them, and it was funded through a grant. And all of the reviews from the chief and the officers that worked with this particular person with this type of job description was very, very positive, especially dealing with mental health issues, not them, but, like looking at mental health issues, which has just been completely exacerbated by the COVID pandemic. And so to have somebody full-time, but not necessarily in the police department, in the Department of Human Services, I think is critical. I think it's critical for our town. I know that the Board of Finance last week had the outside agencies report, and I do some volunteer work with, Safe Futures, and the statewide increase of domestic violence since the pandemic is up 35%. But what's more significant is that increase is the more severe cases. So you have people who, domestic violence is bad no matter what, but there are some cases where it's to the point where if the victim, children, and pets don't leave the situation, they will end up having been murdered. That's how severe those cases can get. So when that happens, when they literally have to flee with the clothing on their back, Safe Futures houses them. They put them up in hotels. Now that cost for Safe Futures has increased 700%. So while domestic violence statewide has increased 35%, it's the level of the severity of the cases has really gone through the roof. So this is where a person, this person would help with the police, be more of a direct contact with families for outreach and for domestic violence, for other healthcare issues, for bullying issues. So I'm really an advocate for this position and how important it is. I know funding is always, I haven't been on the Board of Finance for over 8 years. I know how literally a $70 million budget is truly looked at line by line by line, and that every dollar is really considered and evaluated. So I would like to propose a shifting of some of the existing monies in the budget for consideration from the second and third selectmen's salaries. So I know I'm proposing a pay cut here, but I just want to hear me out. So I know a number of years ago there were some big jumps in the salaries for the second and third selectmen that Rob Simmons did from his line item. And while it's like, I think this year it'll be close to $14,000 for each one. it's $10,000 more than what the town treasurer gets, right? So the town treasurer's position, I mean, that's the person that's signing all the checks and really looks at all of the invoices that come in. It's a very critical and important position. That's $4,000. So I'm suggesting that we each take, $10,000, well, I mean, it's, you know, in our line items now, but move that out of the second and third selectmen's, salaries into this position to help seize the cost of this position. Then the salaries for the, you know, for the second and third selectmen would be more commensurate with what they had been in the past, and along the same lines as the town treasurer. So, I just think it's such an important, position. I know that, I know that there are members on the Board of Finance that are always looking to cut staff, and, you know, I don't know a town hall staff that works harder than here in Stonington, and we really do need some additional people, and this is one I think is just critical for the health of our community. So that's those are my thoughts, and, you know, we can talk about it, but, you know, but that's what my proposal is for the budget. And I know they haven't gone into deliberations yet, so the timing of our meeting is really, you know, very fortuitous, because I think it is your budget, it's the first selectmen's budget. You know, if we think that this is a good idea, you can make the change, present it to the Board of Finance for their deliberations, and then that, you know, that their proposed budget goes to town meeting. So, that's what I have.
So Deb, no pressure if you want to table it.
I know it's funny, because my selectmen comments tonight were gonna be about how I've been attending the hearings and listening, and how especially moved I was by listening to the outside agencies, and especially Safe Futures with that increase. And I heard her talk about the hotel, I heard her talk about the domestic violence, and I've been trying to think of a creative way we could move money around to support that position that I do think is very important. And so I actually think that's cool. That is a creative way, and I would support that.
Okay.
Especially knowing that it does bring salaries back similar to the town treasurer, so.
Yeah. And to where they would have been before.
Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah.
And truthfully, it's like, I feel like the town needs that. It's something the town needs, and I think that this is a really creative way to fund that.
I think this is like a historic moment. Two people are offering to give up like 70%, 80% of their salary stipends. I'm touched. You guys are true public servants, and I was also we see the numbers on the paper before it comes, but to hear the stories right from, Always Home, Safe Futures, our own Human Services Department. It's really, and this is just the start. We don't know the long-term impact that mental health and substance abuse and domestic violence and all these things that are kind of, outcomes, already were in our community but have been so exacerbated by the current situation. But I also don't want you guys to feel like, this would be a big change, like you said, it's going back, I guess, but, do you feel like that?
No, I could support that. I think that's such a creative way to do it. I had been kind of racking my brains trying to think of what I could do, and I think that's just a really creative way to do it. I would support.
I would be willing to support that, yeah.
I think it could help, because I think that line item, if I'm remembering correctly, is about $40,000. Obviously doesn't include benefits, but our benefits aren't that great. So, that would almost halfway offset, and it would be kind of in perpetuity, so it could always help offset that position.
Yeah, it wouldn't be just a one-off.
Exactly, a one-off.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we actually need a motion, but maybe just to cement it, and I can then go back, to the first selectmen's budget, but then I can go back to the Board of Finance and say, we actually approved this, and that it's not, that it is kind of earmarked, if you will, for a specific position.
Exactly.
That we really want to be sure, I'm not gonna take it back to my salary line item. And that, we really see this need, so, let's see if I can make this motion right. So, a motion to approve reallocation of the two and to go towards, the potential future salary of the community outreach position. I butchered that, but, yeah.
No,
That sounds all right? Okay.
So can I get a motion for the summary of that?
Okay, so moved.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Okay, any further discussion?
No, I think that this is good, and I'm hopeful that it'll work, because I was really concerned listening to them speak and knowing the importance of that position.
So if I can add, so I've gone to, I mean, obviously this past year, there weren't any events or galas or fundraisers, but I've gone to this breakfast at State Future Fest called Light the Way, and there are people who give testimony of how State Future saved their lives. So this is a real thing, so it's that important.
No, thank you. And I do know in talking with, Leanne, our Director of Human Services, and with Chief Stewart, like you said, this position, we went through we had other positions, let's just say at the start of the budget process, and we eliminated almost all of them. It's the IT position, really, and this one, and they're just so needed. And like we said, it's heightened right now because of COVID, but this was always needed.
Yeah.
And it's so preventative, and it's hard to show like the ROI on prevention measures, but it is preventative. Like if, the police get have a file this big of flags, if they don't have the staff and capacity to follow up on all of them, and Teresa and Joe and others have been doing a great job during this time trying to follow up and be sort of a community outreach, but they have a huge workload themselves. So to have a dedicated person, I think, in human services who can follow up on those cases as well as be a direct point of contact and do proactive outreach. I mean, it's lives saved, it's quality of life, it's, helping people before it gets too far. So yeah, I think COVID's heightened it, but I think this was always needed and it will forever be needed.
Yeah, it's always been, unfortunately, domestic violence has always been there, and when, I think, early during the shutdown, when domestic violence calls started to increase, it was, well, it's because is everybody in the same house now, or are the neighbors hearing incidents that they might have missed because they weren't home? So it's a combination of that, plus just the stress of, the mental, there's been a decline in overall mental health nationwide, but that's been part of it too, so it's always been there, but this is just a very important position, so.
Thank
you.
Yeah. You guys are just the best. Okay, so we have our discussion, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, aye.
Aye.
Yes, aye. Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
guys. Wish we could all hug.
All right.
All right, we'll move on, before we go.
Okay.
Okay, the next item is comments from the public. As a reminder, you can press *3 if you wish to talk. I don't think there's anybody on, so just in case, *3 and then *6. All right. If not, we'll go on to comments from the Selectmen. You could just talk much, but maybe, Deb, do you want to kick it off with it again?
Well, as I said, I was basically going to talk about attending the budget hearing, so I'm not going to talk about that since we already talked about it. But I do want to give a shout out and a thank you to the anonymous resident who gave us these beautiful flowers for the Selectmen for International Day of Women.
Yeah.
They're beautiful and it's so thoughtful, and I'm so appreciative that somebody reached out and said thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Whoever
for
was.
Stacy's as well.
Yeah.
So,
It really
that was very
worked out.
sweet.
We
Thank
had no idea
you.
who
Very,
it was.
very appreciated.
Yes, yes.
So,
And other than that, a lot of my meetings, because of the budget hearings, didn't happen in the past 2 weeks, so I really don't have anything other.
All right.
So I am, so excited to say that K through 12 had their final meeting last night.
Like actual final or like?
Our final meeting, and tomorrow night, so it's like throughout all of this, and, the pandemic, and this, it was a long process getting the schools up and running, but, the Board of Education has not officially accepted the schools as being completed in one, and they need that. I mean, the schools have been used, and it's just more of a process that has to happen, like an official, acceptance of the schools, so that when we file for our final reimbursement from the state, that's there. So that happens tomorrow night at the Board of Education.
Okay, cool. So they've already done all the walkthroughs and everything.
Yeah, I mean, they've used some, right? So,
Yeah.
Everything is good. There's a few still, like, outstanding items, because the schools have been shut down, and, it just has to do with the system, just make sure everything is balanced right, and that kind of balance, we're not gonna know until we go through all seasons again, so, like, this year was gonna be the year, and that just didn't happen with the school at full capacity. But this committee doesn't need to meet to, address some of those things that are ongoing. And our owner's rep, I can't thank Colliers and Chuck Warrington enough. He's our owner's rep, large projects, and verified every single invoice, like $69 million, so it's the two elementary schools and the roof which is now district office with the, former Pawtucket Middle School. So, verified everything. If there was anything that was questionable, he went back to the company submitting the invoice, and worth every penny, gonna make sure that all of our documents are in order to submit the final, the final package to the state for the audit for our final reimbursement. We've been reimbursed. I don't know the exact amount of, what the state has promised to give us for eligible reimbursement, like 33% of the cost. Not all the cost is eligible for reimbursement, but that's where our owner's rep will, will separate out the two and verify the cost for everything. And so when it goes up to Hartford for the final audit, we know that every I is dotted and every T is crossed, and it's valuable. So valuable assistance for a bunch of volunteers, right? Managing the largest project Huntington's ever had. So our owner's rep is really,
I remember the discussion up front of what is it worth the money, so.
Yeah. So, that's all I have.
That's really good. That's exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. 8 years and 2 months.
Thank you both. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm still stopping, but I'm glad it's the final one. So some quick ones. So, first, just, a big thank you to, Congressman Joe Courtney and his staff. They took the time to come to Stonington this week, right before flying down to DC to vote on, the bill that just passed. But it came time to come to our town dock because he wanted to further highlight the great news that happened actually in February, that his office didn't get enough kind of press and attention that it should have. So we were so grateful that they came to highlight that the fishing quota for black sea bass has been raised. And I want to say this is something that's probably been a decade plus maybe of advocacy and work, trying to get it raised for New England and for Connecticut. And I can speak to this because when I was on the EDC, I write letters to the Secretary of Commerce and to Courtney's office and to others, and he and his staff have just always taken our calls. They've always been so responsive, and I know they work so hard to advocate for this. And so it was a really important step in the right direction for our fishing fleet, and to just make it a more sustainable and viable business model, because the way it was set up, it wasn't great, and it also wasn't fair. So this is an important step. So that was really just a wonderful moment of the week. So we're looking forward to working more with the staff. They're opening the Magnet-Stevenson Act for the first time, I think also maybe 10 plus years. And so trying to look at how to make it a better balance between kind of, this fish conservation, but also looking at the fishermen who are the ultimate conservationists because they want the fish to be there also. So we're excited to work more with his office on that. The Board of Finance at last week's meeting, just in case anybody missed it, I really didn't, but they did approve up to $300,000 for the Al Harvey conservation effort, which is really big for going out for federal or local grants and donations. So we're really excited. We've been talking with some of the neighbors on the road. They've been just wonderful. So we're really excited, really hopeful. I mean, just one step. There's still probably like 30 other steps to take, but it was an important one, so it's good to mark it. A reminder, Saturday is our virtual hybrid town meeting. So we have our 4 different resolutions and ordinances that will kind of be shared virtually. People can dial in, listen or dial in or be on the WebEx. Then they come to town hall, they can walk, drive, bike, anything you like, and come cast your vote. and all that should be hopefully done by 12 o'clock, and then, the results will be read live again. So hopefully this will work, but we were testing it out, but we didn't want to hold up business, and potentially have, missed out on a really, what I see as a great opportunity for the schools to move to LED lighting, and a big cost savings overall to the town. So that was kind of impetus for moving all of these forward. That have been kind of waiting because of COVID. So that'll hopefully go really well. Come out and vote, be part of history.
Good feedback, we're interested to hear what
Yeah.
people think of it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, how it goes. We've decided, it's been exactly a year, really, since the last time we held this, like, discussions with Danielle, forgive the cheesy title, but, we thought it was catchy. But basically, we had done a few last year, before COVID hit, just to try and get feedback from residents, have a place for them to share ideas or bring questions, concerns. Some people, I think, don't always feel comfortable calling or making appointments, more formal, so just an informal setting. They were great. We had, one at Mia's and one at, M-Bar, actually, before they closed. So we wanted to bring it back, and now that the weather is getting nicer, we thought we'd do them outdoors for now. So we're doing one in the morning, at Waterwanek Square, down in the borough, on March 31st. So we're hoping people will grab a cup of coffee or, some food, support a local business, and then come. And it is the day before, the public hearing on the budget. So if people have questions or anything they want to come with, I'll be ready. And then we'll do the next one, April 26th at Donahue Park in the afternoon. So trying to switch up the times. So, depending on people's schedules, they can potentially come. And then May 26th at Mystic River Park at 7:30. And then, the last one that we planned for now, June 30th at Town Hall at 5 o'clock. But again, give us feedback on the times, the locations, the whole concept. But we'll try it out again and see how it goes. And then, yeah, just.
So that's 7:30 a.m.
AM, so we have two
Okay,
7:30
yeah.
AM and
Okay.
then one 4 PM and then one 5 PM.
Okay.
So we're just testing it out to see what works for different people's schedules. See if anybody comes. Yeah, we'll see. So, last time we did, we got some good feedback and ideas and questions from different people, so it was nice to connect. So hopefully we'll be again. Bring a mask, even though we'll be outside, but mask for now. And, I think that's it. So, good, well, thank you guys
Yeah,
again
that
so
is
much.
it.
Thank you.
We need a motion.
Oh, yeah, adjourn.
I'll second.
I don't know if I ever do a motion